March 23rd, 1997 is a very special night for all of us. That was the same night that Chicago crowd witnessed Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin, where we got that infamous face of Stone Cold Steve Austin bleeding. He passes out, doesn't tap out, but he does lose the match and gives us an epic double turn, the beginning of the Attitude Era, and showing us the that the WWF was gonna be big, and sure enough, it did. It was one of the most iconic nights ever, just for that match alone. The rest of the show was kind of bad, but would you believe that at one point we weren't supposed to get that match? No, it was supposed to be a submission match between Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart, the rematch from 1 year ago, the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. And but people have always wondering, what if Shawn Michaels never lost his smile? So if you guys, I'm pretty sure all of you know the backstory, but Shawn Michaels didn't want to put over Bret Hart. Bret Hart was supposed to go over, and he was gonna be the one putting the sharpshooter on Shawn Michaels, him bloodied all up, and him passing out. That was gonna be Shawn Michaels. Stone Cold Steve Austin was probably going to face The Undertaker. For the record, this match was going to be for the WWF Championship, just FYI. That was the case. But would that have been good for business? People have claimed that Shawn Michaels losing a smile may have been the greatest thing to ever freaking happen in professional wrestling, because 1996 was a terrible year for the WWF. They had one of the lowest rated episodes of Raw. That's when they realized we gotta step our game up. We gotta pick shit up. Otherwise, WCW is gonna kill it, because WCW was phenomenal in 1996. The debut, the formation of the NWO. They needed something. The WWF really needed something tremendous, because even looking at the attendance, 18,197 in Wikipedia. Over here on the WrestleMania book, it says 18,211. So whether or not WWE likes to rewrite their stories, that's the case. We can all agree that WrestleMania 13 was pretty bad, but people give it a pass simply for that epic match between Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin, the submission match with special guest referee Ken Shamrock. At the time, Ken Shamrock wasn't really a wrestler; he was just a guy who was very popular in MMA. So they needed a big match. They needed something epic, and they were not doing anything right. Um, they tried everything. They brought a European Championship, which should have culminated at this WrestleMania, not on Raw. Imagine that. We could have gotten Bret Hart and Steve Austin and Owen Hart versus the British Bulldog for the European Championship. Oh my God, that show would have been epic. Rocky Maivia, they were trying. Eventually, he becomes The Rock, thank God, and the Sultan, who ended up becoming Rikishi. So it's pretty weird. Two guys who becomes legends over time. Hunter Hearst Helmsley was still doing some good work, even though they were mad about him for the curtain call. That is another thing. All of the Click shenanigans in 1996 may have been the most iconic thing to ever happen in professional wrestling. That curtain call with all four of those men hugging, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, uh, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, and Kevin Nash Diesel. That moment with all four of them hugging changed the business, because they didn't want to push Triple H. They didn't want to punish Shawn Michaels since he was their world champion. Razor and Diesel were leaving, which they viewed fake Razor and fake Diesel, which was awful for Kane. And so they had to punish Triple H because, he broke the rules. So that led to Austin 316, that epic promo at King of the Ring. And then it led to this epic encounter. Keep in mind, Stone Cold and Bret Hart had an epic encounter at Survivor Series, but it wasn't as epic as this match. Some people even consider this to be the greatest match of all time, and I don't blame them. It is such an iconic match. Why do I constantly just shove this comment down our throats? Because if Shawn Michaels didn't lose his smile, the business would not be where it is today. I'm sorry, but at one point, I think people would have been sick and tired of watching Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. The reason why I worked in at Survivor Series 1997, the reason why it was so big then is because people knew Bret Hart was leaving to WCW. So people wanted to see the finale, whether or not Bret Hart was or the WWF was willing to finally have Bret put over Michaels. These two hated each other. The story itself was epic. But and say what you will, the Montreal Screwjob is one of the biggest impactful moments um of all time. That is a debate in itself. But without the Montreal Screwjob, we wouldn't have gotten the Attitude Era. But some people say that the Attitude Era started here, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. It gave us the biggest face of the company, and it was great because how bad would it have been for the Undertaker to bury Steve Austin? There's no way Steve Austin was going to break the streak. That's just a given, at least at this point of his career. Um, but something that has always been debated is what should have closed the show. I don't think this match should have closed the show, but also I don't think the Undertaker should have closed with Psycho Sid. He should have been closing with Vader. I know people hated Vader in backstage. The fans love Vader, myself included, but I could tell that the company wasn't high on Vader because he was too injury prone. Well, so is Nia Jackson. This bitch is on our fucking TV set all the time. Imagine if we got Taker and Vader, Bret and Austin, Owens and Bulldog. I wholeheartedly believe that WrestleMania 13 could have used a better card. But if you remove Bret and Stone Cold Steve Austin, this would have easily been one of if not the worst WrestleMania of all time. And none of us would be here. So if Shawn Michaels lost his smile, the business would be dead. Enough said. It's made me the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Episode 5 was Steve Austin's heel turn at WrestleMania 17 good for business? Find out in the next WrestleMania debates. Till then, I'm out.